Following content will contain disturbing and sometimes graphic images and major and minor spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, Mr. Recruit, and welcome back to Bloody Red Table Talk. I am your host, Terrell, and joining me today, of course, is my co-host, Broadus. We know, guys, that we've been gone for quite some time with this show, but we back and we better than ever. So we're just gonna get right into it. Before we get into it, though, let's do a quick life update, just to update the people on what our life been like. So how the rest of your year been? Like, what did you do for the rest of your 2022 and your 2023? What it is already?
Well, I finally got back into streaming last year, around March-ish.
I think we were doing a podcast. We were still doing it by then. Yeah, we started back in April.
Yeah, back in April.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when we uploaded.
Yeah.
It's been a chill year last year. I did a lot more shows than I did the year before. Scam Artists, Truest Ethos, shout out to them. Had their debut show and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. Then a bunch of other things, running around the school, keeping things in order as I can.
Yeah, literally, you running around the school.
Well, yeah,
literally.
I do, literally. And this year we started our production company, Undaunted Productions LLC. So y'all gonna see a lot more of us.
Yeah, not we, by the way. Him and our friend Terrell, who also shares the same name as me.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's just spelled different.
But they started a production company.
Yeah. But of course Terrell's gonna be involved in any way that we can get him involved.
Yeah.
We are starting Agony. That is 100% happening.
Very soon.
Very soon.
And very quickly.
Shit, I think we start filming in 3 months.
Yeah, and we start rehearsals
next month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a wild time. For me, the rest of my year, 2022. It was okay. I mean, towards the end of the year is when things really started to pick up. We did a show together, barbecue.
That was fun.
At CCBC, returned back to CCBC after a long time. I hadn't been there in like 3 years, maybe 4. I think it was 3.
Yeah.
We did a winter type of thing together. Us and a few friends. We did like a winter wonderland where we played like characters, the kids. He was a Christmas caroler. And it's funny because Broadus,
I don't sing.
He don't sing. So when they told him that he was a Christmas caroler, he was like,
What'd you say? I ain't doing shit. Nah, but that whole moment was just crazy. Because then you see everybody getting in the elf costume. And it's like, oh, we don't get coats. I said, Terrell said, you better take that damn coat. I said, all right.
He was fortunate. All right, so little backstory. We get a sidetrack, but he was fortunate because his like your character, you were a Christmas caroler. You had a coat. I didn't have a coat. I was a toy soldier. I was freezing, but there were people that were elves that were probably the coldest people out of everybody because their shit was like it was thin,
paper thin.
It was crazy. But yeah, we did that back in December, which was really cool, really fun. Hopefully, we get to do more stuff with them in the future.
I hope they do Easter, man.
Yeah, I think they're going to do something like that. So hopefully, we get to update with y'all with future things with them as well. I'm in a new show now, a musical, Be More Broadway Live. Yeah, it's coming out February. You in a new show too, coming out in February. We're real busy. Time is flying, but we trying to get the podcast up and running again, and really make it official. Y'all see we got like a new type of background. We working on really our aesthetic now, and we back in person.
Yeah, we
haven't been back in person in
a year,
a long time.
I think if we would have waited till September, it would have been 2 years since we had an episode in person.
Yeah, so it's been a minute. But. Yeah, now we're going to get into today's icebreaker question. Before we get into this icebreaker question, we just wanted to have something fun for the audience to do. So, hey, if you're listening to this on YouTube or maybe Spotify, you can't really comment on Spotify, but comment in your head, just play this icebreaker along with us and really have your own answer in your head. And you'd be like, oh, well, I think my answer for this will be this and etc. Today's icebreaker will be, what movie are you anticipating the most this year?
This year?
And it's a lot of movies.
There's a lot of movies coming out this year.
I would say, you want me to start?
You start because I got to think on it.
I would say I'm gonna kind of cheat and say 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Say 2. The first one is The Little Mermaid. Now I know I sound like a child, but Halle Bailey is in it. And fine as hell, and I am
Look at me.
Broadus.
Fine as hell.
Fine as hell. Listen, I'm queer, but that's one woman that's one woman that can it can turn some things around for me, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so excited as hell to see Halle Bailey.
Yo!
It's a few women. I'm just like, okay.
Come on.
Yeah, so excited to see Halle Bailey kill it. I'm a fan of her as well and her sister. So excited to see that movie and that Disney classic come to life. I think it's gonna be great. And she's black as well, so I'm proud to people. And also Scream. I think Scream 5 was really unexpectedly. I don't want to say this, but unexpectedly good. I didn't know what expectations I would have for Scream 5 because it was new, and Scream 4 was good, but it was also, and so it's kind of scary to, in a way, reboot a series. And so it was a very scary thing last year. So to see the success of Scream 5 last year going into Scream 6 this year, it's going to be real interesting to see what they do. And the trailer dropped, I want to say, a few weeks ago. It looked amazing.
I think they dropped a new one yesterday.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. I gotta look at that. But I know it's like in New York, so it's gonna be. I'm liking so far what they're doing with Scream. I'm sad Neve Campbell is not coming back allegedly, due to like contract stuff. But I'm excited to see what they do with Scream. What you gotta say?
So I'm gonna cheat and say 2 as well.
All right.
As of this very moment, Ant-Man Quantumania is up there for me. I love Jonathan Majors. Of course, everybody loves Paul Rudd. Like,
yeah, Paul Rudd does a lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot of shit. So to see Kang the Conqueror be Kang the Conqueror is very exciting to me. And he gonna beat the shit out of Ant-Man. Like, you don't see that every day. This is supposedly our next Thanos,
I don't know these people, man.
I get you.
I'm sorry you so much. I know Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know Kang the Conqueror.
Kang is basically this interdimensional terrorist, if you will.
Got you.
Multiversal terrorist.
Got you.
He's very smart. He cherry picks his moments. And then Scream 6. Scream 6 looks good.
Yeah.
And my baby in it, so
Broadus is a simp for Jenna Ortega.
A lot of women I am.
And like it's a little bad with her. It's one of the women that is like bad. Like
that bitch fine. I mean, ooh.
Oh wow.
That girl fine.
Shout out to her though, cause she did do a good job in Wednesday.
She
that
did a
was
good job in Wednesday.
Phenomenal job. She's blowing up too right now.
Yeah, and I'm kind of mad about it because I said it before everybody else. Like, yo, that's crazy how that worked, bro.
I remember she was like on Disney Channel, wasn't she?
Yeah.
At one point, but
she was in Jane the Virgin too.
Oh, she was? Yeah. Well, at that point, I ain't never watched Jane the Virgin. At that point, Disney Channel, I don't think I was watching anymore.
Yeah, man, listen.
And I say simp, y'all. All right, now, without further ado, for real this time, let's get right into The Last of Us, which is today's episode. So, for those of you who do not know, The Last of Us is a apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic type of video game. It first debuted in 2013, and it followed the lives of Ellie and Joel, 2 characters in the game, and their agenda to survive the brutal circumstances that they were facing during those moments in the game. Now, when this game was first introduced in 2013, I don't know about you, but I remember it being like
it was an
instant hit.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody was talking about The Last of Us. And it got praise. It got countless awards and just countless praise from the media in general. So
it won Game of the Year that year, right?
It might have. I'm not 100% sure.
They got one Game of the Year.
Before we get into the actual show, though, let's just kind of talk about The Last of Us video game. And what memories do you have, of that moment when it first came out in 2013? 2013 was fucking 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
a decade ago. Right? Yeah. So what memories do you have?
About college.
Yeah.
So with The Last of Us, I didn't play it on release because back then I was more so in my GTA phase.
Got you.
I'm blowing shit up.
Was GTA 5 out?
Yeah,
GTA it was out. It was. Yeah,
I think it came out.
It just came out. Yeah.
So GTA was my thing. But when I finally got my hands on The Last of Us, because I think what I played before that was The Walking Dead.
Got you.
So
Telltale games.
Yeah.
By the way, for those.
Telltale's The Walking Dead.
It's amazing, by the way. Telltale makes some amazing games.
For real. That was game of the year. But so you know how I am. I'm like, okay, how is this different from Walking Dead?
Right.
I'm thinking it's gonna be, not a straightforward story. It could go either way.
And also, also context, Walking Dead is one of your favorite shows as well. Broadus' favorite shows. So
Love.
I guess like in your mind, were you feeling like it was gonna be a ripoff in a way?
At first, I was.
Okay.
Because I didn't watch trailers or none of that. I avoided hype. I'm still like that where I'm like, it took me fucking 3 months to watch Wednesday.
Yeah, same. I just watched it like last week.
Yeah, see? Yeah. I watched it 2 weeks. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play it. And within the first few minutes, I was hooked. And like I would come home from school and was like, no, fuck homework. It's time for me to play The Last of Us. When I tell you I probably played The Last of Us for 3 days straight.
Damn.
I was like invested. I don't want to get into spoilers yet because we'll get into that when we break down the episode.
Yeah.
But from that first scene when the outbreak happens, and you know the events that follow, and then we get to that time skip. Those events before, I was like, damn. All right. We got us a game. And then the gameplay was just smooth all the way through, and I loved it.
I'm not really a big gamer per se. I have my certain games. I think you know this. Audience may not know this. I have my certain games I play a lot, but I don't really branch out and play new games. 2013, I was 13 during the time when it first came out. I remember it being a big thing. I remember getting the game actually pretty early. I got it maybe like a month after it came out, maybe even sooner. At the time, my sister was dating a guy, my niece's father, and he got the game for us to play it. And we also, I remember in GameStop, I don't even know if they still do this, like the game guides where like you have like the maps or like you have like the guides like if you're having trouble with this, the real big books. We bought the game and we bought the big book too, so we had any troubles, we like do it because because now on the internet you can look everything up on the internet now, but back then the internet was around, but it wasn't as like what it is now. Yeah. So back then we bought the book and everything, and we was like, we played the whole game. The game was fucking. I was like, this game is so good. I remember it was the summertime, and we played the game throughout the entire summer. I think we played it twice because it was that good, like back to back. It was a phenomenal game. I just have memories of that and going through that guidebook. Like I remember, like it was certain points where we were struggling, like we don't know what the fuck to do, and we were going through the books, reading over and over what to do.
That's how it was for part 2 for me. I was like, God, what the fuck?
I haven't played part 2 though.
Part 2 was good.
Yeah.
It was. So it's split. You know, people be like, that shit was good, this shit was bad. I was like, overall, when I replayed it, I had a lot of fun.
But I think a lot of that too is just because of the first one, when you have so much expectations on like one thing and then you do another thing, like a sequel or something, then it's so much even more expectations. And so, but yeah, a fucking phenomenal game. If you haven't checked this out, you're listening to this episode and you haven't checked it out, if you watched the show and haven't even checked out the game, please put it in a game. The game is fucking phenomenal. I can't express enough. And I'm not even a gamer like that.
It's definitely up there for top 5 video games for me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of all time?
As far as storylines go.
Okay, I mean,
as far as storylines go. Not of all time.
Yeah, and in terms of story based, yeah, I can see that.
Because it's a lot of them, but it's hard for me to be invested in characters when I'm playing a game. Low key. Certain characters I'm like, damn. But these characters I'm like, fuck, man. Like certain things that happen fucked me up in the head. Where I was on a vengeful path for a long time in the game. Like
it's destroying everything.
Yeah.
I do think it was ahead of its time though. I do.
It was.
I do. Alright, but let's get right into I gotta go back to my notes. Let's get right back into the actual the show now. Alright, so the series starts off, by the way, this is spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the series or played the game, but the game been out for 10 years, so that's not an excuse. If you haven't seen the series though, which just came out last week, make sure you go check out the episode before you watch this episode of us. And we'll be here every week, every Sunday to discuss each episode as they come out. So starting this off, the series, the year is 1968. Now we see a talk show host discussing the dangers of airborne illnesses that with two I can't pronounce this. It's like the epidemiologists. I'm sorry if I butchered that. And I can pronounce this one doctor name. It's two doctors. One Dr. Newman and the other Dr. Jonas Hayes. I butchered that. My bad.
He's a nigga. That's all I know.
I don't know. All right. So in this brief conversation, we hear discussions about fungus being a species not seeking to kill the human species, but control it. There are also many other topics in this scene, foreshadowing events to come in the future of this series. What did you think of this opening scene and this discussion? Really, fungi and the dangers of fungi.
So, what I like about it is that this is a completely original piece for the show. Mm-hmm. It works. And of course, they try to throw in the global warming awareness. They're saying, as of right now, the fungus can't evolve because it's not warm enough in order for it to take over a human host. Because mostly at that time, it was taking over bugs. Like, it was like, it would take over ants and shit like that, which is a very real thing, guys. There are fungi out there who take over ants' bodies, have them climb up in trees and shit, so they can release spores and mess up nests and infect a whole bunch of other insects.
Oh, wow.
So,
I ain't know that.
Yeah, little history. So, so that foreshadowing is another way of movies to slip in their message. Hey guys, global warming's bad. I don't know if y'all know, but it's estimated within 2100 that the sea level's supposed to rise by 50 centimeters.
Damn.
Which means not East Coast, but coastal cities are fucked. So, because they said that because Greenland had their hottest day of the ever in 10,000 years 2 days ago.
Oh, wow. But, I mean, yeah, even in terms of global warming, that definitely relates. I remember back, we live in Maryland, and I'm going to say like a few weeks ago, it was like 2 days out of the week.
It was like 65 degrees.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this global. I'm gonna shut up because I don't know too much about global warming. Does it affect is it only heat based or is it?
No, it can actually be the other way around too.
Cool, because I was gonna say we had 2 days where it was like, I think it was like 7 degrees or like 5 degrees, and I've never experienced that shit in my life. When I tell you it was cold.
So.
My bad, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I thought you were gonna say it. It was cold as fuck. I got you, bro. No, but so you get these cold fronts, and also like I get it, global warming, but now you got all this cold. Soon you'll have all these icebergs melting, and this cold, what's that shit called? Cold water spilling into the oceans. Now the ocean temperatures drop as well, which will also cause a sheet of ice to go over the land, which will also technically cause the next ice age.
We fucking up the world, y'all. We gotta get. Let's go into the show, though. We getting too off the topic.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. That's a little history for your ass.
But yeah, I liked a lot of the at first, I didn't understand what was going on, but as you really pay attention to the words that the doctors were explaining to the host during the time, it makes a lot of sense, especially in connection to the show and the airborne illness that caused this outbreak. And it's very, if you really, I think that's probably, honestly, that was probably the most important thing of this episode, that first segment.
Yeah.
Because it lets you know everything, that was going to happen and how everything came to be. In a very, I want to say like 2-3 minute short time span. It was very short. But if you really paid attention close to the words they said, it really allowed you to be able to see like the future events to come from, this outbreak.
And I like how they, how when that scene was ending, it wasn't like an uproar of cheers and applause. Everybody was nervous and quiet. I like that.
Yeah, it was real. Because I don't think nobody would be like,
yeah, they're
I wouldn't. Yeah. All right, so now we fast forward to the year 2003. That's a big jump. From the 60s to the 2000s, big jump. We were born this year. Not this year, but we were born by this year.
Yeah.
And we start this scene off with Joe's 36th birthday. Was it started off with his birthday in the...
Yes.
The game?
In the game,
yeah, okay, I couldn't remember or not. This scene introduced us to 3 of the main characters, with Joel, who was portrayed by actor Pedro Pascal. You said he was on Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Pedro Pascal was in Game of Thrones.
I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so I do know, and we'll kind of, I guess we can talk about that now a little bit. I know there was a lot of controversy with him being hired for Joel. People said they weren't looking like him.
Him and Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie. She's also in Game of Thrones. There was a lot of controversy. A lot of people didn't like the casting, but I don't care.
But honestly, I didn't understand it because this game, to me, it was never the way they look never mattered in terms of plot line.
Yeah, it didn't.
It really does not matter.
And then if we were in technical, all he needed was a little more facial hair, if anything.
Yeah, that's the only.
That's
Joel
the
is the only. He a lot of facial hair and honestly dirty looking.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but he's dirty looking.
Yeah.
But that's kind of his. That was his whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did a good job with him as well.
And he delivers.
Yeah, he does. He
delivers.
He does. His daughter, whose daughter Sarah, who was portrayed by the actress Nico Parker, who has a famous mother as an actress. I can't think of her name. I have to look up Nico Parker, and you'll see her mother.
You know what's
put
crazy
that information for us.
People had an issue with Pedro Pascal playing Joel, but didn't have a problem that they changed Sarah's race.
Yeah.
The fuck?
I don't know. But Sarah died, so I mean they didn't really care.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, I spoiled it. Well,
what's her name again?
Nico Parker.
Nico Parker.
And Broadus is looking it up. Also, his brother Tommy, who was portrayed by the actor Gabriel Luna. In this scene, we are given a glimpse into the lives of this very small yet close family, where we get to see the family interact. We also get to. I'm sorry, you looking it up?
Yeah. No, keep on.
Sorry.
I'm with you.
I was making sure. All right. In this scene, we also see Sarah step away discreetly from the table from Joel and Tommy.
Tondi Newton.
Tondi Newton, yes, that's her mom. She was on Norbit and a few other stuff.
Oh,
yeah. She's a famous actress. Who she looks just like her mom, by the way.
She do. What the
Yeah, we see Sarah stepping away discreetly to what it looks like she's stealing money and also a watch from Joel. That's what I got. Like she was like stealing from his dresser. Also, we see that the family interacting with their neighbors, which is going to be really important in terms of the timeline of the beginning of this episode as well, interacting with their neighbors, and Joel and Sarah interacting with their neighbors, as well as during this scene as well, the opening scene where they're in the kitchen and making breakfast and everything.
In the kitchen, water whipping.
And we're going to gloss over a lot of these moments because it was so much to unpack. We're going to gloss over some of these moments. But in the scene with the kitchen, you can hear over the radio some news reports of disturbances happening in other countries and other places in the world. Then we go to Sarah being in school, and we also get even more indications that things are changing based on just a lot of things. The way that the actress Nico Parker portrayed Sarah and kind of how tense she was during that moment, as well as a lot of the students. You can hear a lot of students in the background coughing.
Did you notice that the boy was twitching?
Yeah. A lot of those moments are very subtle moments to let you know that things were slowly changing. And so after school, Sarah went to a pawn, like a repair pawn shop type of thing.
Yeah, I guess you could call it a pawn shop.
Yeah, because I thought it was a pawn shop at first. Sarah went to a repair shop to repair her dad's watch that she actually stole in the beginning of the episode with the money to pay for it as a birthday gift for him. So just about when she's about to finally get that repair and it's almost done being repaired by the repairman, his wife rushes in from the back of the store saying, "Hey, we got to close down immediately." Not really explaining why. She just we gotta close, you gotta get out, Sarah. And she was like, just be safe and everything. So that was kind of alarming, and that was kind of letting us know as the audience, all right, things about to real quick. So then we cut to Sarah getting home and actually going to the neighbor's house. In the beginning of the episode, so Joel and Sarah, when they're interacting with the neighbors, they kind of have this moment with the neighbors where Joel promises that Sarah will come over and visit the neighbors after school that day. And so Sarah fulfills that promise and comes over and visits the neighbors. And you can get a weird vibe from the neighbors, especially I think it's the grandmother, the older lady in the wheelchair. You start to see her kind of twitch a little bit like the kid was early in school. And so it's just that was a very short scene, very quick scene.
Yeah, it was subtle.
Yeah, just to introduce us to the neighbors as well, because they play an important part in the beginning as well.
Yeah.
Then we go to Sarah going back home, and Joel coming home from work, and Sarah giving Joel his birthday gift, which was the repair watch, and then they watched a movie to celebrate his birthday in the night with.
Which in the game is one of Joel's favorite movies too.
So then Sarah dozes off and falls asleep halfway in the movie. Joel is still watching it when he receives a phone call from his brother Tommy from earlier. Now Tommy is like, "Hey, I'm in jail. I need you to bail me out, and there's a lot of crazy shit happening right now around me. I don't know everybody's tripping, so I definitely need you to come get me and get me the fuck out of here. And in the background of the phone call Tommy, we can hear a lot of the kind of the panic that is starting to happen. And so Joe is hesitant at first, but he does go and get Tommy, and as he gets Tommy, he lays Sarah to bed to rest. And then we cut to Sarah at, I want to say, about 2 a.m. in the morning, waking up from very loud and alarming sounds. I want to say, I think it was like the dog barking, helicopter, car noises. It was a lot of sounds that woke her up at 2 a.m. in the morning. So she woke up to try to investigate what was going on. She went outside, she saw what was going on, and kind of had her alarmed a little bit. She also saw during that period, like, she turned to the TV, and the TV was like lockdown, with the government telling everybody to lock down, stay in your homes or whatever.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, so she went to check on the neighbors because the neighbor's dog was barking. And when she checked on the neighbors, that's when we first see a glimpse of what the fuck was happening. She went in to check on the neighbors, and she noticed that things were unusual.
Can we talk about that too?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this now. Okay. She noticed that things were unusual. And like the front door was just open, and she was like, "What is that about?" And so she goes in, and she sees blood everywhere, and she's kind of like freaking out a little bit in her head. And then she sees that the guy neighbor is dead on the floor, but his like chunks of his neck is kind of like bloody and almost like bitten out in a way.
But the thing is, he's dead, but he's moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like in that phase.
That daze.
Yeah. And so then we look over, and the camera pans over to someone dead on the floor, and the older lady from the beginning, like we said, that was in the wheelchair, she's on top of them with blood over her mouth and will presume to be biting and like into their neck. And so she sees Sarah and then jumps up immediately and tries to charge at Sarah. Sarah somehow manages to get out the house. Before, the lady is still trying to charge at Sarah outside the house, and then Tommy and Joel comes back in the truck now after being out for so long. They come back and they save Sarah. They all hop in the car, and then there's this whole thing. I really like this scene as well when they were in the car. I think the car scene in the game really stood out to me. And they did a lot of moments referring to that car scene in the game, like the burning house. It was a lot of things. And so I'm just glossing over this, but we're going to talk about it. Then it was chaos in the city. They tried to escape the city, but realized that everyone else had the same idea, so they couldn't really escape the city. The city had walls up, preventing anybody from getting out, so they all were stuck in there. And so they were just trying to escape somehow by car. In the midst of escaping, they realized that a whole plane was crashing towards them, so they tried to drive away but couldn't get away fast enough, where parts of the plane actually hit the car, which caused the car to crash. And then in the middle of that crash, Sarah hurt her leg. And she couldn't walk or run or anything. So Joe had to pick her up, and Joe saw Tommy and Sarah. They were separated. Joe and Sarah were together, and Tommy was separated from them. And so they were trying to reconvene somewhere else. And then Joe was carrying Sarah when the zombies noticed him, started chasing him, and he was running for his life with Sarah, and the zombies got real close, y'all. Real close into actually catching him and Sarah.
If it wasn't for plot armor, his ass would have been grass. Yeah,
until a military soldier shot the actual zombie who was chasing them. And for a minute there, we kind of feel a relief because we think, okay, finally someone is helping out. But that wasn't the case, because we soon find out that the military officer had orders to kill pretty much everybody that came to his path. Anybody he saw that came in his path, it was to kill and eliminate whatever's going on by any means necessary. And so pleading to this officer, trying to get this military officer to help them, Joel was unsuccessful. The military officer shoots off a few bullets at Joel and Sarah. It kind of causes them to turn around and tumble down the hill. And during that whole process, Sarah actually gets shot. And Tommy, before the officer could finish the job, Tommy comes out of nowhere, literally, and just kills the officer. Y'all, sorry. And kills the officer. And so we look over and we pan to see Sarah is shot, and she's bleeding out, dying on the ground. And then we end that scene, which is all this, by the way, all this we shortened down to is 30 minutes. We end that scene with Sarah dying in Joel's arms while he's crying over her body. And so that was the end of like the first act of that episode per se. What did you think about that whole thing? Let's try to sum that up as quickly as possible too. What did you think about that thing?
I'll go backwards. That scene with Sarah was tough to see, like, because it's live action now.
Yeah.
of course, as someone who played the game many times over, it's like I expected it. But something they did different is when she died, he didn't look back for Tommy. He was focused on his daughter. But instead of being able to comfort her when she dies, he looks back, and by the time he looks back, she's gone. So that I was like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. So now you done created this monster. Going back to the scene where Granny start eating people and shit. So what they're doing different is it seems like the zombies aren't exactly eating people all the way through.
Yeah, it's like they're converting them.
Yeah, it's more so like how the doctor said in the beginning, the fungus's goal isn't to kill people. Well to, eat people. It wants to spread the infection.
Yeah.
So this lady, so what they changed was you're not infected by spores anymore. They have fucking mandrills coming out their mouths, and pieces are breaking off into people's flesh, and it's driving into their skin. Of course, everything has to eat. That's something different that they do with these infected. Everything has to eat. So with that, it's like they're feasting off of each other and shit. The beginning with Sarah, I loved it. It showed a bond that was stronger because we didn't get this much time with Sarah in the game.
It was like maybe
10 minutes.
Maybe 10 minutes and Sarah been alive, but Sarah by herself in the game was maybe like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5. Because you switch to Joel pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't start with her stealing the watch. She actually gives him the watch and shit. Joel leaves in the middle of her sleep. And basically that's where the game picks up. We don't get her going to school. We don't get her at breakfast with Uncle Tommy and shit. It picks up right when the infection starts. And overall, I like what they changed. And I like that we feel like since it's so much that they changed in a little bit of time, we almost feel like potentially Sarah will be safe by this point.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, damn, they changed it. Maybe Sarah just going to be...
Maybe they'll change some of the story.
Maybe Sarah grow up to be Marlene and she really hate her father or some shit, Like something could happen. Him and Uncle Tommy get in a fight. She saw Uncle Tommy, you know how that go. She changed her name to Marlene. She don't want nothing to do with Joel. Some weird shit. But,
piggybacking off everything you said, the death was... I think it hit harder, honestly, because the actress who portrayed... Shout out to Nico Parker.
Yeah, real shit.
She's getting so much praise right now, and rightfully so. I was truly captivated by her and her performance. Incredible actress. I was just like, damn, I ain't want to see her die.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I don't want to get a lot of controversy with this, but I didn't like Sarah in the game. I felt like she was kind of helpless in a way.
To drive the plot.
Even before getting hurt, I felt like Sarah was helpless in a way. And I feel like Sarah in the show, I feel like I could see potential of Sarah actually helping them. And I think possibly for me, it was because Sarah was older in the show than she was in the game. I feel like she was too young in the game where it was like, well, she's a little girl. She can't really do much to help versus
like my man
Sarah.
Clementine.
And Clementine different.
Gangster.
Yeah, she's different. But Sarah in the show, she was a lot older. So while she was still trying to process that, I was like, I feel like I know there's gonna be a moment if she did live where she's gonna be like, okay, got it. Let's do what the fuck we gotta do.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that. I enjoyed her age, her being older as well, because it brought so much more life to the character. Like you said, her school scenes, her scene in the repair shop, her stealing the watch and stuff, her scene with her dad and her uncle. It added so much more light to the character Sarah, which we really did not get for 10 years. You gotta think about that. Sarah is a major driving point for Joel, but other than that, Sarah wasn't really that important in the game overall.
Yeah.
She was important, but she wasn't. She was important, but Sarah's life was. It was like, okay, like she died. Okay, I understand why. That's like
basically
cool.
Basically, we didn't have to see Sarah die.
Yeah.
We could have just got a picture of her or something, and he's like, Yeah, I lost my daughter.
We didn't have that emotional connection to Sarah like we did in the show.
We have an emotional connection to Joel because of
the longevity of the game and him playing with him. But Sarah is different because we only had her for 10 minutes at most. And so now we're getting her for 30 minutes. It builds a strong emotional connection, which I really love what they did. As well as the whole neighbor scene. I thought that was beautiful. I think they changed it from the game though. The game, didn't someone like...
They never showed the neighbor. They showed the neighbor, but it was a dude.
Didn't somebody like run to the window or something?
Yeah, it was the dude.
Yeah, so that was different, which I really liked because I was expecting that. So when they didn't do that, I was like, oh shit, okay, something new.
Joel smoked that.
Yeah, he did.
The way I do it.
Like I said, I did enjoy the driving scene. That's probably one of my favorite scenes from the game overall, just because I love the visuals and the whole aspect of it.
long shots, man.
Yeah. You know what I fucking... Oh my God, the fucking the panic and the craziness.
Oh yeah.
I was like that shit. I don't know how the fuck they got that shit to look like the video game exactly.
Only difference was the planes coming in. That's
honestly
the only difference.
That shit. I was like, I feel like I'm playing. Yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm playing a fucking. Well, like everybody was just fucking manic. Everybody was going fucking like nobody was fucking in their right head of mind. It felt so fucking real because I felt so. Like indulged in the actual scene and what was happening. I felt like I was there.
You know the runner that was chasing Joel?
Oh, I dropped my fucking drink. Go ahead, continue.
You know the runner that was chasing Joel? So in the game they run at you, but they don't run into shit. They don't be flipping over nothing. Them stuntmen, I know y'all be saying the TikTok was like that stuntman had rent to pay. Yes, he did. Cause he was haul-assing. He was knocking shit over. I know I'm not doing that. But he was knocking shit over, still trying to get at the Joel.
Yeah, he was doing his job.
It was solid.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I like Uncle Tommy as well. I think he did a phenomenal job. But let's move on into... Yeah, let's move on to the other stuff. He does.
He sounds just like that.
But let's move on. Now you got the notes on your computer.
Yes,
let's move on into the other aspects of the series.
Damn, my bad, y'all.
And we're going to take a quick break so I can clean this up. And we're going to come back and we'll jump right into it.
Whoa!
Bye. Hello, Mr. Recruit, and welcome back to Bloody Red Table Talk. Let's get right back into today's discussion. Go ahead, Broadus, lead us away.
So we can get a 20-year time jump to the year 2023.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It made me like... the mental jumps that went through my fucking head when I was like, it's this year. And also, they were talking about a panoramic outbreaking. And I was like, this is... hitting a little too close to home.
Did you look outside to see if there was some shit going on?
Nah, if something happened like that, just kill me. I'm always like, just kill me, because I'm not trying to survive through that.
I ain't about to. If it's The Last of Us, then yeah.
Them zombies wild.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So we get this shot of a boy in red. He's walking to this Fedra gate, so to speak. They accept him and they're talking to him, asking him where you come from. What do you know? All this other stuff. And they're doing a test. They have a scanner behind him to figure out if he's infected or not. The scanner shows red. But instead of telling the boy that he's infected, the nice lady told him straight up, hey, we're going to get you fed. We're going to get you some clothes. You're going to be all right. Obviously, the lie detector determined that was a lie.
Maury!
So, fast forward, we see Joel for the first time in 20 years, and he's beat up. He not beat up, but he looks like a shell of himself than he was in the beginning.
Yeah.
He's just on a cleanup dude.
I feel like Joel now, it really shows...
the wear and tear, really.
Yeah, it really shows the effect that this illness had over the past 2 decades. Yeah. Like, from how Joel looks and how he acts now versus then, it shows the effect truly.
Yeah.
And how things have been.
Exactly. And it's like he's cold because it's revealed that the boy did in fact get killed. They killed the boy.
Yeah, they did kill the boy, by the way.
But we figured this out because Joel is burning bodies for Fedra. He carries the boy, tosses the boy in the fire. That's how we figure out that the boy died.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind that Joe is doing this because this is kind of one of the only jobs at this point that you can do to make money really in a society. And even then, you would think burning dead people would be a very nice money-making job.
Nope.
It is not. It is pennies to this society. It ain't nothing. And so really we kind of see Joel as well in this state where he's, you know, still trying to survive and make a living, which is crazy because fucking money still exists. Some form of fucking payment, some form of fucking compensation still exists during this time, which is crazy.
Some form of currency.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to put the word currency.
What we know fucking slaving.
Yeah.
Except it's everybody now.
Yeah.
But I digress. Not trying to be controversial. My bad. So, it is discovered that Joel is also selling drugs to federal soldiers to make extra money and to get extra things. Why? It's so that, I don't know who this dude is, but he's the contactor. Basically, you pay this dude to get information out of him because he has the radio.
Yeah.
It is revealed that he contacted Tommy 3 weeks ago, but he hasn't heard back from Tommy. So now he's like, what the fuck? I need to know where my brother is. You don't have no information? And, you know, the dude's like, that's all I can do. I don't pay for you to ask questions. I pay to deliver messages.
Right.
Stupid to me. Fucking stupid. I'm paying you to deliver a message. It's dumb. But, I mean, that's something that they added. There's something new. Eventually, we see Tess for the first time in the series. Who is she played by?
Sorry.
Very good.
Keep talking while I'll bring it up. I'll pull up all the actresses and actors' names, by the way.
We see Tess for the first time in the series. She's getting her ass whooped. She's getting beat up.
Like bad. Not even funny. Also, Tess is played by Anna Torv, the actress Anna Torv.
Okay. Thank you. She's getting beat up bad by the dude named Robert.
Yeah.
Robert is beating her for a car battery.
And Robert is also played by the actor Brendan Fletcher.
Yep. I heard that name before.
Yeah, I have as well.
He's beating her and she's like, yeah, fuck you. You know, that's how it is. So remember these names. Robert in the game was another dude who ripped them off, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so
it's going to be really important in terms of the story as well.
Yeah, it is actually. Because he takes their car battery and tries to...
Yeah, it's going to be a whole thing.
So after that, we get our first reveal of Ellie, who was played by Bella Ramsey.
Yep.
Also somebody who was in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
So the Fireflies are asking Ellie who she is, and she's giving them the name Veronica. And she's like, I've been the same for 3 weeks. Nothing is going on. Y'all kept me here for 3 weeks. Why? Of course, this is under the Firefly leader, Marlene's orders.
Yep.
So we eventually cut back to Joel, who is revealed that he's going to try and go on a half-ass mission to find Tommy. He's doing drugs and alcohol. That's his way of coping with everything.
Yeah, Joel is really in a bad place at this point.
Bad place.
It's kind of sad in a way to see Joel kind of spiraling as well, because when you really think about the two, Joel doesn't have anyone at this point.
Tess, really.
Except for, but even then, Tess is not.
She's not
blood.
the best. She's not the
he
best
doesn't have his
either.
blood. I mean, and I know, I'm sure a lot of people in this situation, they didn't have their blood, but even still, I know that was a hard thing for him, especially not only losing his daughter that way, but also now potentially the thought of losing his brother and not knowing, it's really hard.
What makes it even more fucked up is that he lost his daughter not to infected,
but to a regular person.
Yeah. So after that, he eventually falls asleep after concocting this plan. It is revealed that Tess walks in, rolls him over so that way he won't see her face when he wakes up. But after that, they wake up the next morning. Joel still hasn't noticed Tess's face for some reason. Because he's just not looking at her. He's like, fuck it, I'm fucked up. When he finally does, Tess convinces Joel, like, okay, I understand. Don't go out here doing some stupid shit. We're going to get our battery. We're going to go find your brother. So they're going to go together. At first, Joel was going to go by himself because that's his brother. So they make the plan to go find Robert and get their car battery back. Then we get our introduction to Marlene. When I tell you this woman looked just like Marlene from the game, oh my gosh, they did a wonderful job of casting.
And Marlene is played by Marlee Danger.
Yep. And so we get that introduction to Marlene and her interactions with the Fireflies. The Fireflies are questioning her on whether or not they should go about fighting Fedra a certain way. The Fireflies are a group of rebels. If we haven't specified that.
Yeah, because also, I don't know if we specified this as well. During this time period, it's kind of very much like the government is in control of everything. Like now, like in society now, they kind of are. Yeah, but like even more now, especially with this everything that happened. Everything is like
control
on a 10, on a 1,000. Everything is like you can't breathe unless I tell you to breathe. Mm-hmm. And so it's so many. It's so many rebellion groups as well as groups trying to save people and get people out of those situations. So just to keep that in mind as well. In terms of everything in the environment that Joel is living in as well.
Yeah. So they're just asking, why are we attacking Fedra if we're not taking points? We're attacking the same places every time, and we're not getting anything. We're not taking over.
They're actually losing people. They're
losing
some of their members. They're dying.
Yeah, they're losing more people than they're taking. If that makes sense. So eventually, that leads to Marlene basically being stubborn, putting her foot down. Like, hey, look, it is what it is. We're gonna leave though. So we don't gotta worry about this shit. We're going somewhere where they aren't. Marlene goes in to talk with Ellie. This is where it's revealed that Ellie's name is Ellie, because Marlene actually put Ellie in a federal base, because Marlene knew her mother. And of course, this is a spoiler kind of, but it was in the trailer, so not really.
Also, side note, the woman who played Marlene is Marlene in the game as well.
For real?
Yes. No, like real life. I'm sorry, we didn't know that, y'all.
Yo.
I was looking and I was like, wait, and I was reading some things, my bad.
That makes a lot of damn sense.
Yeah, that's why she bodied that role so much.
Yeah.
She knew that.
I feel she sounds just like Marlene too, bruh. Damn. Well, my bad. But damn. So basically, she says all Fireflies or Fedra. Ellie says, I think she says the Fireflies are terrorists. And then Marlene asks, was Riley a terrorist? Which Riley was Ellie's best friend. Mm-hmm. So with that, you get this talk of basically you're gonna stick with me. I know who you are.
Right.
You're the cure. We know you've been bit. Riley's dead. We know you're bit. Well, she knows that Ellie's been bit. They've been hiding it. So she's the cure. I got you. I'm gonna transport you to this other base in Washington? No, not Washington. No, it is in Washington. No, where the fuck was it? I think it was in Texas. It was one of them. I can't remember. So we cut back to Tess and Joel. Joel and Tess are walking through the sewer line, mm-hmm. and they come across an infected. But the thing is, this infected can't move because the fungus has completely taken over, and Buddy's attached to the wall now. He's fucked up. So they keep moving. They're like, okay, the infected are getting closer to the home. They keep moving. They eventually get home. They get to the place where Marlene is staying, and they find Robert dead, and a bunch of people are dead. Mm-hmm. It is discovered that Marlene was shot. They're walking up behind Marlene. Joel and Tess call out, hey, freeze, basically. And Ellie jumps out the room to attack Joel. And, you know, Joel puts her ass down quick.
Real quick. I was like, that's a child. But, I mean, again, he had to put it down like that. Nah. But it was...
He basically pushed her like, bitch, sit down.
But it was so aggressive.
Yeah, he was. That's why he grabbed her hand and just tossed her.
Yeah, he did.
She dropped the knife, he stood on it, and he was like looking at her like, don't, stop trying. So eventually, it's revealed that Marlene and Tess and Joel all know each other. Because they, you know, I think Joel used to be a Firefly. Mm-hmm. So, since Marlene was shot, she's like, I can't take Ellie where she needs to be. And, you know, Joel's like, we don't smuggle people. We don't do that. That's just not us. Low-key, I think it was a cover for Joel because he doesn't want to get attached to a kid. Mm-hmm. I feel like if it was an adult, he'd be like, all right, fuck it, let's go.
It's trauma there, you know?
Yeah, it's trauma, yeah. So he agrees. So Ellie and Tess all leave. Of course, they're cold to Ellie. They're like, what are you so special for? Why are we transporting you?
Right.
You know, Ellie can't tell them. Ellie just can't because Marlene told her, if you tell people, they're gonna kill you. So eventually, Ellie, Joel, and Tess are sneaking through to try and get past Fedra. But there's a soldier who is who spots them, and he's like, freeze. It's just this one soldier. He's talking to them. He's trying to test them. Joel is trying to bribe this soldier with more drugs. He's like, basically, hey, I can get you the hookup. I can double it for the same amount of payment.
And also keep in mind as well, this soldier is the same soldier from earlier in
That
the
he
series, which Joel was getting messages from Tommy about. He was getting messages about Tommy from this soldier who was paying drugs. And so now it's kind of a full circle moment that we see Joel connecting with this soldier at a different point in this episode now. And especially a different point, I would say, even though it's like a day later or a few days later in Joel's life, because this is the beginning of so much more. And so it's very interesting to see that interaction and how it differs so much from the time before. And
even the game.
Yeah.
Because, the Federal soldiers, they didn't know him.
Yeah, they didn't.
But what it is, it's like, so he's like, I can double it, but for the same pay. The soldier's like, nah, I might as well get my shit for free. Yeah. Joel, he's like, all right, whatever. I'm not budgeting, but, So he's testing them, and he's calling in, hey, I got people here. So when he gets to Ellie, of course, Ellie is infected. He gets to Ellie, but before it can pop up on their scanner that she's infected, she attacks.
Yeah.
But then by that point, he tosses her off of him. And now he has a gun raised on them with a light. This triggers Joel, because the soldier before, he didn't see the soldier. He saw the light that killed Sarah. So he associated that, and this sent him into a rage. He beat the dog shit out this soldier. I'm talking, he beat him to death. Yeah, he did beat him to death. Like you said, it triggered something that was very traumatic to him. Yep. And it was very like a fight or flight sentence. And he went right into that fight. And it was like it allowed us for a moment to connect it. And then right after we connected it, it was like... It happened. It happened. There was no stopping him because he was in that mindset where he couldn't stop until... I can't remember. Did Tess stop him, or he stopped once he knew Buddy was dead? I think he stopped. I can't remember. Tess might have stopped him, but at that point, the guy was already dead. And if he wasn't dead, it was no way that if the guy was left there, it was no way he was surviving that, because no one would have. Yeah, he beat his ass bad. So eventually, Tess picks up the scanner, sees that Ellie's infected. She screams for Joel. Joel's like, "What the fuck? You're infected." And Ellie shows them the bite. Like, hey, this happened 3 weeks ago. I'm still here. 3 weeks ago. Yeah. 3 weeks ago. Yep. And they're like, we shouldn't trust Marlene. We shouldn't trust you. You're infected. If you bite us, we're gonna kill you, or shit like that. Any signs of her, twitching out, we're gonna kill you. So we get them eventually going to. Damn, kind of hurt. Everything just dropped. Yeah. We get them walking to the city, and you hear the iconic sound of a clicker, and you see the clicker standing on a skyscraper. This right here is going to be an amazing episode, next episode. Yeah. Because it ends on that. It does end on that. Yeah, so that's pretty much the wrap. We tried to summarize that as quickly as possible. Now I guess we can just talk about everything as a whole, and especially like the last part as well. I think they did a phenomenal job as well. I feel like we kind of had this discussion before filming, when everything, like I think like the day after it aired, we were texting. We were like, it felt almost rushed, some parts of the show. But I do understand, in a sense now I understand why I felt rushed, because they took so much of what wasn't the beginning and they made so much more that they had to tighten up some other moments of the show. So I do understand that, and I think I appreciate that more than I feel like if they would have gave us a shortened beginning. I heard originally Ellie wasn't going to be introduced in the beginning, like in the first episode. Oh, really? Yeah, at first it was going to end it with Joel burning the little boy's body. But then they... Well, yeah, I guess that was like at the point where that was like, I'm going to say probably like the 30, 40 minute mark. So they could have ended it there, yeah. But HBO like that hour-long show. They're hour-long episodes. Yeah. But for me, when we spoke about it, I said I really enjoyed this. We both mentioned it was rushed. But when you sit back to reflect and given everything that we just said, it's like, okay, it was rushed compared to the game.
Yeah.
But if we just look at it, like if we just forget the game
and look at it as a show, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
That's because also the game it's so fucking long though.
Yeah, it is.
Especially the game. The tricky thing about the game, though, I will admit, is there is no roadmap to tell you, okay, go this way, go this way. If you're unclear, you have to figure that shit out yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, if you don't pick up on the shit, it can take a long time.
And not just that, you got combat. You gotta fight
constantly
yourself.
Constantly.
Yeah, you know, in the show, you can't really just simulate them sneaking around, killing people. You can't have 15-minute. Well, you can, but then you risk your show being dragged out.
Right.
But you know, I mean, that's a risk. I would take it because I would have had them go into the game like they did in the in the game. But I digress. You don't, and also I get it why they make changes. Because you don't want to have something be directly like the game. Because I might as well just play the fucking game or watch it on YouTube.
Not even that, because I'm glad, and I guess we can kind of close it out with some of these thoughts. I'm glad that it was not
like the game,
directly like the game. Because I would have been a little irritated. I would be like, okay, I know what this story is going to entail. I think the entire the general plot of the story, yes, is the same. But the way that they're doing things and the way that they're adding things, I think will really make the show within itself special. Because I saw something at first. Someone was like, I hope they do a season 2. And I was like, before the show even aired, I was like, why would they do a season 2? But then after, I was like, oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, they do have other games like, part 2 or whatever. Yes. But still, in my mind, I was like, at first when I thought about it, I was like, I feel like they should just end it after the first game. Even though they do have more games, I think they have like a prequel. No,
that was DLC.
Yeah, the DLC
which will be
prequel.
Incorporated in season
1.
Wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah, it'll be they mix it. I think they're gonna have Ellie probably. I think this is my theory. Joel, when he finally opens up to Ellie, he considers her a daughter. I think he's going to explain to her what happened to Sarah, which will lead to Ellie explaining what happened to her friend Riley.
Because we saw Riley in the
trailer.
We also saw Riley in another game.
It was in the
DLC. Yeah,
in the DLC.
I don't know why I thought that was a separate game because
they promoted it as a separate game at first.
I can't remember if I played the DLC or if I watched it. I might have played it and watched it as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was good though.
But yeah, I'm excited. I don't want to talk too much about the game overall or the show overall because we still have 7 more episodes to go in this season. So we're gonna be back with those 7 episodes. We're gonna try to have this out every week for you all. But I'm excited. My overall thoughts, my ending thoughts for this video. I'm excited for the show. I'm excited for these characters to see what they do with the show. I feel like these big changes in the beginning. Not big changes, but these changes in the beginning, I feel like are leading to other changes in the story. And I think that's going to really shock people and really have people on their toes, which I really enjoy. I'm liking it so far. I'm enjoying the actors and their portrayal. I think everyone is doing a phenomenal job. And I think everyone who has something to say about this casting should just shut up and apologize because you were wrong because these... Like, literally, no one... I haven't heard anyone say a bad thing about this episode.
Yeah, literally. Nobody said anything bad. I haven't.
Yeah.
The only thing I said was maybe because it's a little fast.
Yeah.
But performances was stellar.
But that's not even bad. That's just a personal preference
thing
that we thought. But that's not a bad thing overall.
Because the performances were stellar. And then it's hard to dislike. I just don't get that. Me personally. Like, why can you dislike change? Just see how it goes.
Right.
And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. All right, you don't. But personally, me, I'm going to just say this now. I hope they don't make season 2 Last of Us Part 2. I hope they draw out what happens after Last of Us Part 1. But like...
Yes, we get more story into...
In between
that's what I'm thinking. Yes. That would be
a considerable time jump from Part 1 to Part 2.
But also, that's very tricky, though, because... If you fuck that up, it is. But if you fuck that up, like if you make something original and it's bad,
just don't fuck up.
It can go downhill real quick. Because I mean, essentially, the writing for this show unless you do something fucking crazy, you can't fuck this up because you already have
And then,
a pretty
on top
much
of that,
outline of
a lot
what's
of
gonna
part 2 had flashbacks for the part in between part 1 and 2, so you can't really fuck that up, man. You just can't.
Right.
So, and then it would add so much more weight to that part where they get to part 2, which would probably be season 3 or 4 if they do it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want that many seasons. I think like 3 seasons would be cool.
I think 3.
I think 3 seasons would be cool.
Because then you'd be like people who didn't play the game would be connected to Joel, Ellie,
Right.
and you know all these other.
I feel like
characters.
anything longer than 3 seasons would be like even.
Yeah,
I'm still even questioned about 1 season, but 3 like if I had to choose a maximum, I'd be like all right 3.
Yeah, I would choose a max 3.
Um,
just end it unless they make Last of Us Part 3. Which
Yeah.
they confirmed it.
All right, now before we end this episode, who was your favorite performance of the episode? Who was your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question. My favorite performance, Sarah.
Same. I'm gonna have to give it to Sarah.
MVP.
Phenomenal. MVP of the fucking Mystery Bros, of the fucking podcast of the day. Like, phenomenal job, Nico Parker. She's only 18.
Miss
Crazy.
Nico Parker.
Such talent.
I tip my hat to you,
Such
soldier.
talent, incredible. But all right, y'all, that is the end of this episode. Make sure y'all be on the lookout for more episodes to come of Bloody Red Table Talk, and also more episodes of The Pit coming real soon.
About that one.
We got so much stuff in store for y'all.
Yeah.
Coming up, especially this year's a new year. We have more time to focus now.
Yeah,
We're more focused on things.
We got shit to do.
Yeah, so
money to
it's definitely going to be the year of the Mystery Bros.
Yep.
Really. But yeah, make sure y'all share this podcast as well with anybody you know to get the word out about the Mystery Bros. We know it's a long podcast episode, but thank you all for joining us for this long episode and just talking about this show. We did miss y'all. This is a great show, so we're gonna have many more. We'll be back next Sunday. Not next Sunday.
Is it
I'm telling the wrong dates.
We film.
Yeah, we'll be back next Sunday. Not this Sunday.
We released this Sunday.
I'm saying this Sunday like they gonna know the date. We gonna release this Sunday, y'all. The next Sunday after this release date.
Yeah.
We gonna be back.
We release every Sunday. Fuck it. Just say that. We release every
We
Sunday.
gonna be back with The Last of Us episode 2.
We'll figure it out.
And hopefully we have a guest with us. If not, we just gonna do it like we do now.
We just gotta find somebody who watches.
If not, hey, just be us. Alright, y'all, but that is it for the Mystery Bros, and we are out.
Peace. Deuce.